This October, the people of Gurgaon in Haryana unanimously voted for change, giving a thumping victory to BJP and Modi's development agenda. The locals of Gurgaon, the workforce that fuels its economy, and the developers who build its skyscrapers all have a common agenda on their mind for the new administration: development and governance. Vasudha Sharma speaks to the men and women who make up today's aspirational Gurgaon on what they expect from the Manohar Lal Khattar government in Haryana. Take a look.
The inside story of Gurgaon is for all to see. Waste collection and segregation looks like this in the so-called Millennium City. Residents claim waste management is Gurgaon's biggest emergency today, with garbage dumps like these scattered unmonitored across its residential sectors.
अगर MCG को पूछा जाता है जो गार्बेज हम डंप करें स्ट्रीट से और विलेज से लेके जाके जो हम कहाँ करें, वो कहते हैं जो किसी भी एक जगह पे आप डाल दो, तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को फोर्स करते हैं जो आप जगह ढूंढो और आप कहीं पे भी.
I think there needs to be an apex agency in Gurgaon which handles all the civic issues of Gurgaon. The problem with waste management or road management or street lighting or any other issue is that there is a multiplicity of agencies with very poor, very low accountability and responsibility, and they just keep on passing the buck to each other.
Apart from waste, another victim of the overlapping roles and turf battles between the three agencies is Gurgaon's road infrastructure. Stalled in a legal deadlock since the last few years, the Dwarka Expressway is Gurgaon's most awaited road project because it will stitch together all the new residential sectors which are inaccessible till now. Gurgaon's planning body Huda has been unable to resolve the contentious land acquisition issue of this road project. And today, everybody from builders to those who want to live and work in Gurgaon expect a speedy execution of this project by the new administration. Stuck in a similar legal dispute is the southern peripheral road that has to connect all the new sectors between Sohna Road and NH8. Master and sector roads along with street lighting and sewerage in Gurgaon's new sectors should also get moving. Gurgaon's new administrator at the Haryana Urban Development Authority says he is mindful of the tasks ahead and assures his team is already on the job.
Water self-sufficiency is a major issue. There are already existing water treatment plants which are in operation. But in addition to that, two new plants are coming up. The source of water supply is also being strengthened. So in the coming about 3-4 years, we are going to meet the future demand.
Apart from the demand of infrastructure and concerted governance, Gurgaon's economic backbone, its real estate industry too, has a clear demand from the new BJP-led administration.
Single window, I've been saying that for a long time. So single window, one is when you give a file into a single window for all approvals to come in. That's the easy part. The difficult part is to put deadlines to when the approvals can come in.
With Gurgaon contributing about 55% to Haryana's revenues, the general feeling among its residents is that the city is treated as an ATM for withdrawals, with no deposits coming in to lay down a sustainable city structure. Gurgaon needs a vision and a master plan, not for cutting new sectors, but to lay down sustainable infrastructure. With camera person Prem Singh in Gurgaon, Vasudha Sharma, NDTV.
All right, so lots and lots of issues there, but what I can read, wastewater and roads, three biggest on that agenda. Let's get a perspective on whether the new government is up to the challenge or not. Prashant Solomon, Managing Director, Chintals India, Member Governing Council, CREDAI, NCR, and of course Sameer Jasuja, who knows the Gurgaon market inside out. So Prashant, welcome to the show. First of all, let's start with the big project, which is stuck, has been stuck. The real estate market is there, turned euphoric, went up, Dwarka Expressway, but there is no expressway. What do you think? So the litigation part of it, it's government agnostic, isn't it? So do you think that the new government can actually move things on that front?
Well, I think that, it's, of course, as you said, it's because of litigation, but there have been a lot of positive steps that have happened. People have started being assigned alternate plots, but this thing takes time. And it's not only about Haryana, it's also the coordination between Delhi and Haryana. Because if you remember, the Dwarka Expressway actually starts from Delhi.
Okay.
So there has been a little coordination issue that has been there. And we feel that now with the new government in Haryana being
What will
BJP...
change?
Pardon?
What will change with the new government?
Well, first of all...
Do you think that the centre-state coordination will be better?
I'm quite optimistic because...
Earlier you had Congress and Congress.
True, but now if you look at the commitment that the new Prime Minister has towards infrastructure, you hear about urban, this housing for all and all those things, smart cities. So the smart thing is to start with a smart city that is already there.
Okay.
So, instead of starting a new city from scratch, I think everybody will save a lot more time and effort and money.
Okay, so one thing is on paper, and of course it's something which is waiting to happen. But Sameer, what are your own hopes? I know that you've also been saying sooner than later this issue is going to get resolved. Now you have buildings and apartments ready to be delivered and no one wants to come and live on Dwarka Expressway, isn't it? And developers such as Chintals, who have gone out of their way to develop great properties there or developing great properties in townships, are wondering what's going to happen.
Well, my view is that eventually the Dwarka Expressway will come up. It's unfortunate that the problems...
Eventually is becoming a bit too long. Isn't that hurting you?
It's very unfortunate that it's not happened so far because of the litigation issues and the allocation of plots to the people who are a part of the expressway at this point in time. But having said that, even if the road would have come up, the social infrastructure over there is still not in place for people to be able to live there.
But Sameer, the thing is, if there is at least an expressway, then there are hospital owners who are more enthused about going and setting up hospitals, school owners who are willing to go and set up. Right now with no road, everyone's just sitting by the sidelines and saying, I want an expressway before I start investing. I mean, developers probably were the ones who rushed in first and regretting it a little bit.
Well, not really. See, first of all, let me just say that the Dwarka Expressway, of course, we keep talking about it as the lifeline of that area. But let me just tell you here that there are other ways to reach those places even today. I mean, the Dwarka Expressway is like the, like the icing on the cake, you could say. But there are sector roads which are already been constructed. The 75-meter roads have already been built in sectors 109 and 108, 60-meter roads. So road connectivity is there already. Of course, the Dwarka Expressway will be the main road, but as Sameer said, it's a question of time. And
well, we just hope that the new government is up to the task. That was the big...
Keep in mind, that Gurgaon, the main Gurgaon as we speak, has taken 20-25 years to where it is right now. And even then, we speak about bad roads and potholes and so on and so forth.
And the story was a big eye-opener. So tell me, Prashant, what else is then? So there's Dwarka Expressway, there is SPR. We can only hope that and keep our fingers crossed that, under the new government, things will move. The other big question that there are 3 different civic agencies, governing the city of Gurgaon, whether it's Huda and the other 2 agencies, and the coordination problem is a big one. Do you believe that the solution lies in having an agency above that?
Absolutely. I think just...
An apex body?
Yeah, if you look at, we're talking about Gurgaon right now, but if you see, this is a problem that is there in Delhi also. You have the NDMC, you have the MCDs, you have the central government. So, multiplicity of authority is always a problem, according to me. And now with a new government there, I think they should restructure the whole civic body and put everything under one single, like you talk about single window clearance, I think there should be a single civic authority.
So you have Department of Town and Country Planning, you have Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon and the Haryana Urban Development Authority.
I would say it should be a Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon. Because Gurgaon has to be treated as any large city, and it's, if you look at anywhere in the world, it is always the city government which is the main government that will decide on civic issues. So I think that the Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon should be empowered, and that should be looking after these, at least the development activities.
And the buck should also stop with it. Right now the problem is that, they just keep passing the buck around. That's another big problem. Okay, on the water issue. So we'll come to the waste disposal. I know that it's a big mess. Roads, we can just hope that with the new government's focus on infrastructure, those will at least take a priority. But what about things like water? I mean, everyone talks about, CSE says that water is disappearing, water tables are falling. Do you think that will get resolved?
You know, Manisha, see, water is a problem that is being faced all over the country, not just in Gurgaon. There's a problem of water in Delhi also. So I think the best way is you have to build, you know, of course it's a long-term thing, but you have to have a better system of canals. You have to have, you know, maybe some groundwater has to be used, because I think when you talk of environmental issues, yes, but you know, if people are living... Are
developers doing something as basic as rainwater harvesting?
Oh yes, yes. Now rainwater harvesting is a mandatory part of the new master plan of Gurgaon. So all of the projects that we are developing, you know, when they're developed, you're going to have rainwater harvesting, which is mandatory.
All right. So we are all living on hope that, okay, the new government will catch the bull by its horn and then fix everything for us. If there were 3 immediate things that you would want from the Khattar government, what would those be?
See, of course, one is the Dwarka Expressway, which is the, you know, the main access lifeline. Second would be the actual infrastructure in Gurgaon and actually spending more money of the EDC collected in actual Gurgaon.
We've done that story on where that EDC money is gone, or it's we know where it is. It's lying in the banks. It has to be spent now.
So there has to be a complete transparent mechanism of allocating and spending those funds of the EDC.
And you think the funds are enough, Prashant, to actually...
I think the funds are enough. I mean, because, you know, I mean, they've collected a huge amount of money, and I think that the funds should be enough. But having said that, I think a PPP model could also work well. I mean, you could have, for example, take the sewage treatment we just saw. I think, you know, you can have a PPP model where the government need not do everything.
Absolutely.
Involve the private sector also. You can involve the private sector in roads. And I personally feel that the private sector could also be involved in water also, like canals, building of canals.
And there are enough companies who are waiting to be given contracts by the government, and it's happening in Bombay, it's happening in Bangalore.
If you allow private companies to build canals and, you know, you give them certain rights of developing of land along the canal, that is a way that you could do something.
All right. Sameer, what would your demand be? I mean, this is a city that you have spoken about so passionately. It's been the most outperforming in terms of investment returns, and now it's going through its own pains, whether it's on infrastructure or it's on pricing or investments really giving returns. What could really change, let's say, the future of Gurgaon?
I think the biggest concern that most Gurgaonites have, even before investing now, is that they think that there's going to be a huge water scarcity going forward, and there will be just no water in this city. So I think long-term planning and coming out and making people aware that what the government plans to do with respect to solving the water problem is one. The second huge problem is power. I think 90% of Gurgaon apartment still is on power backup, right? And the cost of electricity and the cost of diesel is going higher and higher. So it's becoming unaffordable. So I think Gurgaon, for example, a person living in Gurgaon has to pay much more to access basic amenities than a person living in Delhi.
Absolutely.
So although he has 24-hour power supply and water, but he's paying a huge price for that. And third is, I think the government should look at a little bit of master planning for the new sector, especially because Gurgaon has been built in the most haphazard way. You know, you have a 4-acre plot where group housing is coming, right next to it is a commercial complex, then right next to it is a school. I don't think the city has been planned at all. So as far as the new sectors that are being allocated or coming under the new master plan,
damage control.
There has to be some damage control that should be done over there.
And another thing I'd like to add to his point is, you know, when you create a master plan, you should already know that this particular area is going to have, is cleared by a forest, by your environment and all that stuff. It should not be that, you know, you're getting a place within a government, you know, like approved area. Even then you have to go for, you know, 30 different clearances.
Yes.
So the thing should be, okay, if you know, the government should already, which should say that this area is already cleared for environment. This area is already cleared for forests. It's already cleared for whatever mining. You know?
I mean, the fact that you have to keep reapplying for approvals is another big thing. All right, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but thank you very much. Gurgaon, always an important city on the Property Show, and we will continue to take up the issues which affect, and we can only hope and pray desperately that the new government does take that agenda up and improves the quality of life and living in Gurgaon.